Chapter 1. What kind of colorblind are you? Colorblindness from behind these blue eyes. Do not be discouraged when strangers and acquaintances alike think they understand your colorblindness because they read a posting online. Colorblindness, while divided into a plethora of categories, varies from person to person. Even people diagnosed with the same condition will experience it differently. While we can find comfort in commonalities, it is important to approach each person as an individual who sees their world from their eyes, not a textbook pair of eyeballs. The colorblind can also suffer from nearsightedness, farsightedness, sensitivity to light, glaucoma, and other eye conditions. In addition, we have other medical conditions, likes and dislikes, learning abilities and disabilities, and other factors that affect how we live with our condition. We need to be approached as individuals and not summed up by a medical diagnosis. Therefore, I will attempt to explain our conditions in generalized and personal terms below, drawing on what I have learned from behind these blue eyes. Total colorblindness. Seeing the world in black and white. I have zero personal experience with total colorblindness, but I have studied it mildly. I have utmost respect for anyone who lives with this condition. As a partial colorblind sufferer, I could never completely understand your handicap or address its needs, but I will attempt to pay tribute to you by touching on your condition and hopefully providing some tricks, support, or other forms of help or reassurance. Tip number 1. People with total colorblindness only see gradients of black and white. Known as monochromacy, people with total colorblindness see degrees of black, gray, and white. To remember this term, think of monochromatic photography with its richness and beauty stemming from the simplicity of the array of black and white shading and contrast. Varieties of other colors appear in degree of brightness. For instance, a neon yellow will appear brighter than a midnight blue. In order to communicate with others, the totally colorblind often memorize items by their color. Sight, while limited, is still beautiful for the totally colorblind. Tip number 2. The totally colorblind can find a support group or system. While a colorblind support group would behoove any sufferer, the totally colorblind need extra help and support with everyday and milestone decisions. Joining a group provides educational, emotional, and other methods of support. Just talking with others who suffer from this condition is beneficial. A quick Google search reveals several websites and support groups, such as the Colorblind Awareness Group, that provides links and articles as a launchpad for help. Remember, you do not have to go this alone. Total colorblindness is an extremely rare condition, but let us rally around those who live great lives with this handicap. While I do not think the totally colorblind will get national airtime for a pride parade, I think general awareness and education can enhance their experience in our communities. Partial colorblindness, a limited rainbow. Like most of you, I was born with partial colorblindness, but did not know it until an older age. I think my life would have unfolded rather similarly had I not known about my handicap, but I am grateful for the gift of knowledge and the understanding it brought to those in my life. Let us take a look at how we can explain partial colorblindness from a personal point of view so that an uninformed population can understand. Tip number 3. People with partial colorblindness struggle to see certain colors. Partial colorblindness has several names and faces. This book will not address the technical names of each colorblind condition or attempt to explain the inner functions, or lack thereof, of the eye and its cones and pathways. For more technical information, visit the American Academy of Ophthalmology, AAOP, the National Eye Institute, NEI, or another reputable medical source. In layman's terms, the most common forms of color confusion are red-green and blue-purple. This means that varying shades of red and green and/or blue and purple are undetectable to the colorblind eye. For example, a panorama of autumn leaves appears in various hues of green, orange, red, and brown, or so I am told. While I experience the changing colors of leaves, I cannot see every hue. I can tell you precisely when the red maple will display its bright red leaves, or the sugar maple will shed its yellow wonders due to years of observation, but I cannot see the shades leading up to their transformation and departure. Tip number 4. Use real-life examples to explain your colorblind experience to others. I use illustrations, such as the one above, to describe my colorblindness because the technical terms lack the dimensions that personal depiction provides. It is the difference between a sphere and a circle. Medical terms elucidate on a two-dimensional level, whereas real-life examples are three-dimensional. Try using your own stories to help your loved ones understand your experience. Also, specific diagnosis holds very little relevance for me because I never completely mix up red, green, and brown or blue and purple. Maybe you experience this too. Instead, my eye does not pick up certain shades of green, especially in particular situations where lights may be low or the material of an item makes it hard to comprehend. A shirt in bright light may appear green to me, but in dim light, it looks tan. Material matters too. I thought my velour bathroom towels were tan for years, until my husband pointed out that they are a very light green. Taking the time to study the towel's color and compare it to other greens on different materials helped me comprehend the color beyond just trusting my husband's perfect color vision. He's 20/20 vision too. Some guys have all the luck. Blue, in all its shades and splendor, is my favorite color, but sometimes I think purple is blue. The undertone of the shade of purple may influence my perception. For instance, some lavenders appear indisputably purple because of their pinkish undertone. Also, some shades of violet are obviously purple due to their underlying blue. I believe the pink undertone is often more deceptive to me, but there does not seem to be a cut-and-fast rule. Do you suffer from this too? Some purples always masquerade as a true blue, like periwinkle, the most indecisive color on the wheel. While periwinkle falls under the color family of both blue and purple, often other people will agree that a certain hue of periwinkle looks primarily blue or purple. I, however, am left disagreeing with the majority and at a loss for matching it with other colors, hence fashion flub-ups. These real-life examples help to flesh out my personal colorblindness to others. Still, sometimes people need explanations in terms that apply to their own lives. Tip number 5. Use common color-disputed situations to relate to those without colorblindness. Perhaps you experience frustration explaining your colorblindness label because your condition does not fit nicely in a category. Just remember that the majority of people have not experienced our condition and cannot relate to it by a medical explanation. Therefore, I usually explain it to the color-accurate friend or family member in a way they can understand. Ask your inquisitor, have you ever argued with a spouse or friend over the color of black or navy blue pants? It seems that the color-accurate world does not distinguish between these two colors consistently. This is completely hilarity to me because I distinguish these two colors invariably, or so I think. Depending on the light or material, everyday people think a midnight blue is a black, or a black is a navy blue. Often they ascertain the color by checking the label, or holding it up against a true black garment. These are color tests that the colorblind are familiar with and use on a daily basis, so try relating that scenario to a friend and see if they can translate it to your colorblind condition. If the medical explanation, which contrasts our cones and pathways to that of the regular eye, only confuses the situation, comparing may benefit your relationship more than contrasting. Undiagnosed colorblindness, defying the odds. Some people live their entire childhood, or even life, not recognizing that he or she is colorblind, and that is okay. It is not easy to diagnose the condition because most colorblind people see color. I actually prefer the term color deficient for this reason. Deficient implies that color is limited, not missing. Perhaps this explains why colorblindness may go undiagnosed. Tip number 6. Most colorblind people are partially impaired, not completely. While statistics vary, an extremely liberal estimation presumes that partial colorblindness tends to affect less than 15% of the population, meaning that certainly no more than 15% of the population suffers from this condition, and probably less, statistically. Additionally, it is widely recorded and accepted that colorblindness is extremely rare for women, affecting 5% of the population in a liberal estimation. Further explanation on the gender inequality appears in subsequent chapters. Tip number 7. Colorblind individuals may be closer than they appear. I had never encountered another colorblind female until I attended college and broadened my social circle. My Psych 101 college professor at the Pennsylvania State University asserted that 1 in 10,000 women are affected by colorblindness. Next, he asked any colorblind women to raise their hands or stand up. Astonishingly, 3 women in my Psych 101 class voluntarily affirmed their colorblindness when he polled us. Our class size was large, but well below 30,000 people. We defied the odds. Or did we? Tip number 8. Contemplate that you or a loved one has undiagnosed colorblindness. As word spread amongst friends and family that I was writing a how-to book on colorblindness, they began to share their personal struggles and curious questions about colorblindness. Some individuals reacted with denial or anger about the condition. Several were truly compassionate, and others teased in kindness. A few commiserated by offering their personal stories. Unexpectedly, a couple people briefly questioned their own color vision. One person offered a story that I continue to ruminate. This teacher shared that students had corrected certain color choices made on the job, namely referring to a purple pen as blue. Since this color confusion does not inhibit daily life, this teacher's fleeting suspicions warranted no further regard, but simply connected us for a moment in time. Like my teacher friend and numerous others, slight color confusion may fly under the radar because it does not affect everyday life. In fact, these incidences may not qualify as colorblindness, but perhaps they do. In such case, the number of colorblind people may be greater than the recorded number due to underdiagnoses. Tip number 9. Mild forms of colorblindness may go undiagnosed. Upon searching for online color wheel tests, I encountered a colorblind blog featuring the Ishihara color test. This test will be discussed at length in a subsequent chapter, but for now, understand that color-accurate people unanimously identify the same color-coded number in each pixelated circle test. The blogger enhanced the contrast between the dissimilar colors in the color wheel in order to enable the colorblind eye to see the hidden number, or the number that only the color-accurate viewer can detect. The diagnosed colorblind blogger was able to determine the number after the enhancement. However, I was not, proving that my color vision is more inhibited than hers. This experiment also led me to question how many people have a milder, undiagnosed form of colorblindness. Tip number 10. Colorblindness is mostly inherited. If you have any color-seeing problems, inspect your family tree for a trace of color deficiency. unless your colorblindness is caused by trauma, severe mutation, or another under-researched explanation, such as diabetes or a medical condition that could affect sight, it should follow a predictable genetic pattern. The X sex chromosome carries the gene mutation for colorblindness. A male gets this mutation from his mother because she is either colorblind herself or she is a carrier. A female must inherit the mutation on two X sex chromosomes and therefore gets it from both father and mother. Let me tell you a little story to clarify. At Christmas one year, a father gave his growing son a blue tie to match his blue belt and shoes. However, his mother, who was in charge of providing a blue shirt, gave him a purple dress shirt. Unfortunately, she thought it was blue, and now his outfit did not match. This silly story illustrates the genetic pattern of colorblindness. In order for a male to be colorblind, he only needs a mother to pass on the colorblind gene, or purple shirt, on the X sex chromosome. Even though his father provides a perfect Y chromosome, or blue shirt, he cannot prevent his son from inheriting colorblindness, or mismatching his outfit. In fact, the father's Y chromosome does not determine colorblindness. Tip number 11. Women need 2 gene mutations to inherit colorblindness. In a sequel to the above story, a father bought his daughter a polka dot pink shirt, and her mother provided a red striped cardigan. Her heinous outfit even drew negative attention at the Valentine's Day party. This is my story. With 2 XX chromosomes, I needed to receive 2 colorblind genes, hence the wild polka dot shirt and candy-caned cardigan. Females have less likelihood of receiving colorblindness because they need the defect on both X genes. Tip number 12. Some colorblindness is not inherited. Complete colorblindness, however, is inherited differently and affects men and women equally. Nonetheless, very few people have this condition, so it is comparable to a rare disease. Colorblindness can also occur from trauma or other conditions, so this handicap should never be generalized, but taken case by case. Can I get an amen for my colorblind friends? Chapter Review. Your colorblindness is unique to you. No matter what a doctor or friend has told you, you are the expert on your colorblindness. Describe it to people in terms that feel accurate to you and that they will understand. Remember that people want to learn about your condition so that they can work well with you and reach common goals. You have something special to offer your color-accurate friends, family, and coworkers, and the beginning of that journey starts with your openness about your colorblindness. In fact, some of your acquaintances may have a case of undiagnosed colorblindness and could benefit from your insights. If your condition is received as a stigma, remember that you deserve better than that and react accordingly. I believe in you.